The alarm sound cut through the quiet of Nexus 7 monitoring station like a knife. Captain Veltar dropped his cup of bitter Zephyrian coffee and rushed to the main display screen. His 6 eyes widened as he saw the readings that made no sense. "What is this?" he demanded, his voice shaking. The 3 junior officers at their stations looked just as confused as he felt. "Sir, we detected something moving through Sector 7 Alpha," said Officer Rixall, her claws clicking on the control panel. "But the speed readings are impossible." Veltar moved closer to the screen. The numbers made his head hurt. According to their best sensors, something had just traveled faster than light itself. Not just a little faster, but 10 times faster than their fastest military ships. "Run the scan again," he ordered. "Check for equipment failure." The officers worked quickly, their scaled hands dancing over the controls. Nexus 7 was the Empire's most advanced monitoring station, placed at the edge of known space to watch for threats. In 300 years, it had never failed to identify anything that came within range. "Sir," Rixall said quietly, "all systems are working perfectly. The readings are real." Veltar felt cold fear in his stomach. For over 1,000 years, the Zephyrian Empire had ruled the galaxy. They had the fastest ships, the strongest weapons, and the smartest scientists. Nothing could surprise them anymore. Nothing should be able to move that fast. "Show me the energy signature," he said. The display changed to show waves of energy unlike anything in their databases. The pattern was smooth and clean, without the rough edges that came from their own ship engines. It looked almost elegant, like someone had found a completely different way to travel through space. "How long was it in our scanning range?" Veltar asked. 12 seconds, sir. Then it vanished. Vanished how? It just stopped existing on our sensors. No explosion, no energy discharge. One moment it was there, the next it was gone. Veltar's mind raced. In 12 seconds, this unknown thing had crossed an area that would take their fastest scout ship 3 hours to cover. And then it had disappeared using technology they could not understand. "Send an emergency message to Fleet Command," he ordered. "Priority Alpha Red." Officer Rixall's eyes went wide. Priority Alpha Red was only used when the Empire itself was in danger. It had not been used in over 200 years. "Sir, are you sure? The Council will demand answers we don't have." "Send it now." Far away on the Empire's capital world, the emergency signal reached the great crystal towers where the ruling council met. Councillor Mervok received the message first, his ancient mind processing the impossible data. Within minutes, he had called an emergency session, the council chamber filled with the Empire's most powerful beings. Admirals with battle scars, scientists with modified brains, and politicians who had lived for centuries. They all studied the readings from Nexus 7 with growing alarm. "This cannot be real," declared Admiral Kethron, the Empire's greatest military leader. "Nothing moves that fast, nothing." "The monitoring station has been checked 3 times, Mervok replied. "All systems are working correctly. Something traveled through our space at impossible speed." "Then it must be a weapon," said Councillor Zixandra, her voice sharp with worry. "Someone has built a new type of missile." "No," interrupted Chief Scientist Telmaran. "Look at the energy pattern. This was not a weapon. It was a ship with crew inside." The chamber fell silent. A weapon they could understand and fight, but a ship meant intelligence behind it. It meant someone had technology far beyond their own. "Where did it come from?" asked Admiral Kethron. "Unknown," Telmaran said. "It appeared at the edge of our sensor range, already moving at full speed. We have no idea where it started from. And where did it go? Also unknown. It vanished before we could track its course." Councillor Mervok stood up slowly. His old bones creaked, but his mind was sharp as ever. "In 1,000 years of Empire rule, we have never encountered anything we could not identify and defeat. Our technology is supreme. Our knowledge is complete." He paused, looking around the chamber at faces that showed fear for the first time in centuries. Today that changed. Something exists that is beyond our understanding. Something that can travel faster than our ships and disappear at will. We must assume it was watching us, studying us. Admiral Kethron slammed his fist on the table. "Then we hunt it down. Deploy every ship we have. Search every system until we find it." "And if we do find it?" Zixandra asked quietly. "How do we catch something that fast? How do we fight something we cannot understand?" The questions hung in the air like poison. For the first time in 1,000 years, the mighty Zephyrian Empire felt small and vulnerable. Meanwhile, in the deep darkness of space, the ship called Cheonma moved silently between the stars. Its hull was sleek and dark, almost invisible against the cosmic background. Inside, Captain Wu Jin sat in his command chair, studying the data his crew had collected. "The Empire's response was faster than expected," said Sora from her navigation station. Her fingers moved over holographic displays that showed star maps the Empire had never seen. "They're scared," replied Tai Min from engineering. "Good, fear makes them predictable," Wu Jin nodded. He had spent years preparing for this moment. The Empire thought they ruled the galaxy, but they had never looked beyond their borders. They had never imagined that someone might be watching them from the shadows. "How long until they mobilize their fleet?" he asked. 3 days, maybe 4, Sora answered. "Their ships are fast, but not fast enough." "And our mission?" "On schedule, Captain. Phase 1 is complete. They know we exist, but they don't know what we are or where we came from." Wu Jin smiled. The Empire had no idea what was coming. They thought this was first contact, but humans had been studying them for decades. Every weakness, every strength, every secret had been carefully cataloged and analyzed. The real surprise would come later. "Set course for the next waypoint," Wu Jin ordered. "Let's give them something else to think about." The Cheonma turned in space without using any visible engines. It moved like a living thing, graceful and deadly. Then it vanished again, leaving only empty space and a very worried Empire behind. Admiral Kethrin stood before the largest tactical display in the Empire's history. Hundreds of red dots showed the positions of his fleets, all moving toward the area where the unknown ship had vanished. He had never mobilized so many vessels at once, not even during the Great War 3 centuries ago. "Report," he barked at his staff officers. "7th Fleet has reached the target zone," reported Commander Thulkan, a young officer with promising tactical skills. "No contacts detected. 3rd Fleet, also negative, sir. Whatever that thing was, it's gone." Kethron's jaw tightened. 5 of his best fleets were searching an area of space the size of 10 solar systems, and they had found nothing, not even a trace of the energy signature that Nexus 7 had detected. "Sir," interrupted Communications Officer Dalrex, "we're receiving requests for information from sector governors across the Empire. Word is spreading about the unknown contact." "Tell them nothing," Kethron ordered. "This information is classified at the highest level," but he knew it was too late. Fear traveled faster than ships in the Empire. Soon every world would know that something had penetrated their defenses without effort. Aboard the Cheonma, Jeho adjusted his communication equipment and smiled. The Empire's military frequencies were surprisingly easy to intercept once you knew what to look for. And humans had been listening for a very long time. "Captain," he called to Wu Jin, "I'm picking up their fleet communications. They have over 200 ships searching for us." "Only 200?" Wu Jin asked, raising an eyebrow. "I expected more." Sora laughed softly from her station. "They're being careful. They don't want to empty their border defenses in case we're a distraction for a larger attack." "Smart thinking," admitted Taemin, "but not smart enough." Wu Jin walked over to look at the tactical display that showed the Empire fleets. Each red dot represented a warship capable of destroying planets. Together, they formed the most powerful military force in known space, and they were all looking in the wrong place. "Yunji," he said to the young woman at the intelligence station, "what have you learned from their communications?" "Their encryption is basic," she replied, fingers dancing over her controls. "I've broken into their command networks. We now have access to fleet positions, officer records, and tactical databases." "Excellent. Hyunwoo, what about their weapons?" The weapons specialist looked up from his analysis screens. "Crude but effective. They rely on brute force rather than precision. Their ships are heavily armored but slow to maneuver." "And their technology level?" "About 300 years behind ours in most areas. They focused on making bigger ships instead of better ones." Wu Jin nodded. This matched everything they had observed during their long study of the Empire. The Zephyrians had grown comfortable in their dominance. They had stopped innovating, stopped pushing the boundaries of what was possible. "Dongwu," he called to his science officer, "are we ready for the next phase?" "Yes, Captain. The quantum field generators are charged and ready. We can appear anywhere in their fleet formation." "And disappear just as quickly, faster than they can lock weapons on us?" Wu Jin felt satisfaction flow through him. Every member of his crew was the best humanity had to offer. They had trained for years for this mission, studying Empire tactics and technology until they knew their enemy better than the enemy knew themselves. "Sir," Sora interrupted, "I'm detecting a pattern in their search. They're moving toward the Kepler system. Let them, Wu Jin decided. We'll give them something to find. Back in the Empire Command Center, Admiral Kethron received the report he had been dreading. Sir, we've detected the unknown vessel again, Thulkan reported, his voice tight with stress. It appeared in the middle of 7th Fleet's formation. What? Kethron spun to face the display. How is that possible? We had that area completely surrounded. Unknown, sir. It was there for exactly 30 seconds, then vanished again. Did our ships engage? They tried, sir, but by the time they could target it, the vessel was gone. Kethron felt anger and fear warring in his chest. This unknown ship was making his fleets look foolish. Worse, it was doing so deliberately, appearing just long enough to be seen before vanishing again. What did our sensors detect during those 30 seconds? The ship transmitted a brief signal, sir. Our communication teams are trying to decode it. How brief? 3 seconds. But it was directed at all our vessels simultaneously. Kethron's blood ran cold. This ship had not only appeared in the middle of his fleet formation, it had transmitted to every ship at once. That required technology and coordination that should have been impossible. Sir, Dalrex called out suddenly, we've decoded the transmission. What did it say? Just 3 words, sir. We see you. The command center fell silent. Those 3 simple words carried a threat that made every officer present understand their situation had changed forever. They were no longer the hunters. They were being hunted. Counselor Merivak received the report within minutes. He sat in his private chambers, surrounded by the treasures of 1,000 conquered worlds, and felt old for the first time in centuries. We see you, he repeated to himself. The message was clear. This unknown force was not running from them. It was studying them, playing with them, and it wanted them to know it. He activated his private communication system and called Counselor Zixandra. Have you seen the latest report? He asked when her image appeared. Yes. This is beyond anything we've faced before. Admiral Kethron's fleets can't even keep track of this vessel, let alone capture it. The question, Merivak said slowly, is what it wants. If it intended to attack us, it could have done so already. Our fleets were helpless when it appeared among them. Perhaps it's testing our defenses, or perhaps it's delivering a message. We see you might mean more than we think. Zixandra's scaled face showed worry. You believe there are more of them? I believe, Merivak said carefully, that we have been living in ignorance. We thought we knew everything about this galaxy. We were wrong. Aboard the Cheonma, the crew monitored the Empire's growing panic with professional interest. Every communication they intercepted revealed more about their enemies' weaknesses and fears. They're pulling ships back from their outer territories, reported Jeho. Border defenses are weakening. Good, Wu Jin said. The more they concentrate their forces, the easier our job becomes. Captain, Yunji called out, I've accessed their historical databases. The Empire hasn't faced a real threat in over 400 years. Their military doctrine is based on fighting rebels and pirates, not an equal opponent. Even better. Jihai, what's our next target? The tactical officer studied her displays. There's a major supply depot in the Vega system. If we hit it next, we can force them to spread their fleets even thinner. Perfect. But first, let's send them another message. Wu Jin moved to his command chair and activated the ship's communication system. With careful precision, he composed a transmission that would reach every Empire vessel simultaneously. The message was simple. Your technology is inadequate. Your tactics are predictable. Your empire is ending. Within hours, panic spread through every level of Empire society. The unknown force wasn't just watching them, it was announcing their doom, and the humans were just getting started. Commander Thulkan had never seen Admiral Kethron this angry. The old warrior's scales were dark red with rage as he studied the tactical reports spread across his desk. 3 more encounters with the unknown vessel, and 3 more humiliating failures for the Empire's finest fleets. Explain to me, Kethron said in a voice like grinding stone, how a single ship has made fools of 200 of our best vessels. Thulkan shifted uncomfortably. Sir, the vessel appears to use technology we don't understand. It can appear and disappear at will, move through solid matter and... Move through solid matter? Kethron slammed his fist on the desk. That's impossible. Yes, sir. But yesterday it passed directly through asteroid belt Gamma 7. Our sensors tracked it entering the belt and exiting on the other side, but it never changed course to avoid the rocks. Show me the data. Thulkan activated a holographic display that showed the encounter. The unknown ship's path was a straight line through millions of tons of solid rock. According to their sensors, it had not slowed down or changed direction even once. This violates every law of physics we know, Kethron muttered. Sir, Chief Scientist Telmaran has a theory. She believes the vessel might exist partially in what she calls folded space. It occupies normal space-time but can shift into dimensions we cannot detect or enter. Kethron stared at the display for a long time. Finally he spoke. What does the Council want us to do? Deploy the Planet Killer Dreadnoughts, sir. Operation Final Solution has been authorized. Kethron felt a chill run through his body. The Planet Killers were the Empire's ultimate weapons, massive ships capable of destroying entire worlds. They had not been used in combat for over 300 years. How many? 12, sir. The entire Dreadnought fleet. And if we still can't catch this thing? Tulkan had no answer for that. Aboard the Cheonma, Dongwu was explaining their latest maneuver to his fascinated crewmates. The ship's science officer had always loved sharing knowledge, and today he had something truly special to discuss. The phase shift through the asteroid belt worked perfectly, he said, calling up his own displays. We maintained molecular cohesion while existing in 11 dimensions simultaneously. 11 dimensions? Asked Hyunwoo. I thought it was only 7. We upgraded the system, Dongwu replied with pride. Now we can exist partially in 11 different dimensional layers. To the Empire's sensors, we look like we're passing through solid matter because they can only detect 3 dimensions. Captain Wu Jin listened from his command chair with satisfaction. Humanity's greatest scientific breakthrough had been learning to work with dimensions beyond the basic 3. While the Empire built bigger and more powerful ships, humans had learned to step outside normal space-time itself. How are they responding to our latest demonstration? He asked. Sora checked her navigation displays. They're pulling back their search fleets and concentrating forces around their core worlds. I'm also detecting massive energy signatures approaching from their inner systems. Planet killers, identified Jihai immediately. 12 of them moving in battle formation. Impressive, Wu Jin said calmly. They're bringing out their best toys. Should we be worried? Asked Taemin from engineering. Not particularly. Jaeho, what are you hearing from their communications? The communications officer looked up from his screens with an amused expression. Panic mostly. Admiral Kethron is demanding answers nobody can give him. The Council is arguing about whether to evacuate the capital world. And the planet killers? Armed with their most powerful weapons. They're planning to destroy us and everything within 1,000 kilometers of our position. Interesting strategy. Wu Jin mused. Yunji, how long until they reach our current position? At their best speed, 14 hours, Captain. Plenty of time. Dongwu, prepare for a dimensional cascade demonstration. Which level, sir? All of them. Let's show them what impossible really looks like. The next morning, every sensor in the Empire detected the same impossible event. The unknown vessel appeared simultaneously in 17 different star systems, each appearance lasting exactly 1 minute. In each system, it transmitted the same message. Your weapons cannot touch what does not fully exist in your reality. Admiral Kethron received the reports while standing on the bridge of his flagship, the mighty Dreadnought Annihilator. Around him, 11 other planet killers moved in perfect formation, their crews ready for the ultimate battle. 17 locations at once? He said, reading the report again to make sure he understood correctly. Yes, sir, confirmed his tactical officer. The vessel appeared to be in 17 places simultaneously. Each appearance was confirmed by multiple sensors and visual contact. That's impossible. Nothing can exist in multiple locations. Yes, sir. But according to quantum analysis, all 17 appearances were the same vessel, not copies or duplicates. Kethron felt his understanding of reality beginning to crack. First, a ship that moved faster than light, then one that could pass through solid matter. Now, one that could exist in multiple places at the same time. Sir, interrupted his communications officer, we're receiving a direct transmission from the unknown vessel. On screen, the display shimmered and showed the interior of the alien ship. Kethron found himself looking at a being that appeared almost like a young Zephyrian, but with strange features and odd coloring. The being sat in what was clearly a command chair, surrounded by others of his kind. I am Captain Wu Jin of the vessel Cheonma, the being said in perfect Zephyrian language. You have been hunting us across your territory for several days. This ends now. Surrender, Kethron demanded, and you will be treated according to Empire law. Wu Jin smiled, an expression that somehow looked both friendly and terrifying. You misunderstand the situation, Admiral. We are not your prisoners. You are ours. What do you mean? Look around you. Kethron turned to his tactical display and felt his heart stop beating. The Cheonma was now visible on sensors, but not where he expected. It was inside his formation, surrounded by 12 planet killers, completely defenseless. Impossible, he whispered. Fire all weapons. He shouted. His crew obeyed instantly. 12 of the most powerful ships ever built unleashed their complete arsenal at point-blank range. Energy beams that could crack planets converged on the small alien vessel and passed right through it. As I explained, Wu Jin said calmly from the display, your weapons cannot touch what does not fully exist in your reality. We are here, but we are also elsewhere. Your physics cannot comprehend our existence. When what are you? Kethron asked, his voice barely a whisper. We are human, Wu Jin replied, and we have been watching your empire for a very long time. The transmission ended and the Cheonma vanished from sensors again, but this time it left something behind. Every computer system on every dreadnought was now displaying the same message. Your technology is obsolete. Your empire is finished. Evolution or extinction. Choose wisely. Kethron stared at the message and realized that everything he had believed about the Empire's supremacy was wrong. They were not the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They were not even close. For the first time in 1,000 years, the mighty Zephyrian Empire had met something it could not defeat, could not understand, and could not escape. And the humans were just beginning to reveal their true capabilities. Aboard the Cheonma, the crew watched the Empire's finest ships retreat in confusion and fear. Captain Wu Jin stood before the main display, studying the tactical situation with the eye of a master strategist. Phase 3 is complete, he announced. They now know they cannot fight us with conventional weapons. What's Phase 4? Asked Sora. We show them what we really came here to do. Wu Jin's smile grew wider, and for the first time his crew realized their captain had been holding back. Everything they had done so far was just preparation. The real demonstration was about to begin. Emperor Zalkarath had ruled the Zephyrian Empire for over 400 years. In all that time he had never been afraid. Fear was for lesser beings, for those who did not possess the power to reshape worlds with a single command. But today, sitting on his crystal throne in the heart of the Empire, he felt something he had almost forgotten existed: terror. Show me the reports again, he commanded his advisors. Counselor Mervak stepped forward, his ancient frame bowed with exhaustion. Your Imperial Majesty, the situation grows worse by the hour. Admiral Kethron's planet-killer fleet was completely outmatched. The unknown vessel appeared inside their formation and demonstrated technology that violates every natural law we understand. And our scientists? What do they say? Chief Scientist Telmiron activated a holographic display showing the latest data. Your Majesty, we have analyzed every encounter with this vessel. It appears to exist in multiple dimensions simultaneously. Our weapons literally cannot touch it because it exists partially outside our reality. You're telling me, the Emperor said slowly, that a single ship has made our entire military useless? Not just useless, Your Majesty, obsolete. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. The Emperor's scaled hands gripped the arms of his throne until the crystal began to crack. What do they want? He asked. Unknown, Your Majesty. But they have demonstrated the ability to appear anywhere in our territory at will. If they intended to destroy us, they could have done so already. Then they want something else. The question is what? Before anyone could answer, every screen in the throne room activated simultaneously. The image of the alien captain appeared, his strange features calm and confident. Emperor Zalkarath, Captain Wu Jin said in perfect imperial speech. My name is Wu Jin. I represent humanity. We need to talk. The Emperor rose from his throne, his massive frame casting shadows across the chamber. You dare enter my palace uninvited? Your palace? Wu Jin raised an eyebrow. Your Majesty, we have been inside your palace, your fleets, your most secure facilities for weeks. We have been watching you for decades. There is nowhere in your empire that we cannot reach. Impossible. Yunji, Wu Jin called to someone off-screen. Please show His Majesty our intelligence files. The displays changed to show detailed blueprints of the Imperial Palace, complete security protocols, guard rotations, and even the Emperor's private quarters. Then came fleet positions, military secrets, and financial records that should have been impossible to obtain. As you can see, Wu Jin continued, we know everything about your empire. Every strength, every weakness, every corrupt official, every hidden military base. We have been studying you for longer than most of your citizens have been alive. Emperor Zalkarath felt his world crumbling around him. What do you want? To give you a choice, Your Majesty. Your empire has ruled this galaxy through fear and violence for over 1,000 years. You have enslaved worlds, destroyed civilizations, and committed acts that we consider crimes against all intelligent life. We brought order to chaos. We united the galaxy under one rule. You brought oppression and suffering. But that can change. Wu Jin leaned forward in his chair and his voice became harder. Your empire stands at a crossroads. You can choose to evolve, to become something better, or you can choose extinction. You threaten us. I inform you. Humanity has decided that your empire's reign of terror ends now. The question is whether it ends with your cooperation or your complete destruction. Counselor Mervok stepped forward. Captain Wu Jin, surely we can negotiate. The empire is vast, powerful. The empire is nothing, Wu Jin interrupted. Your most powerful weapons cannot touch our ships. Your fastest vessels move like crawling insects compared to ours. Your technology is centuries behind what we achieved decades ago. But surely, Hyun Woo, Wu Jin called, please demonstrate our defensive capabilities. On the screens, the view shifted to show the space around the Cheonma. Suddenly the area was filled with Empire ships, hundreds of them all firing at once. Energy beams that could destroy moons converged on the human vessel and passed through empty space. We are currently being attacked by your 4th, 7th, and 9th fleets simultaneously, Wu Jin explained calmly. As you can see, their weapons are ineffective. The Emperor watched in horror as his most powerful fleets fired uselessly at a target they could not damage. How? We exist in 11 dimensions simultaneously, Your Majesty. Your weapons can only affect 3 of them. It would be like trying to hurt a shadow by hitting the wall it falls on. What are you? Whispered Telmaran. We are what you could have become, Wu Jin answered. Instead of using technology to conquer and destroy, we used it to transcend the limitations of physical reality. While you built bigger weapons, we learned to step outside the universe itself. The Emperor sank back onto his throne. And now you've come to destroy us. No, Your Majesty. We've come to offer you a chance to join the galactic community as equals instead of oppressors. What does that mean? It means an end to slavery, an end to the destruction of inhabited worlds, an end to the empire as it currently exists. And if we refuse? Wu Jin's expression didn't change, but somehow his presence became more threatening. Then we will remove you from power and allow your former subjects to decide your fate. You cannot remove us. We rule 1,000 worlds. Sora, Wu Jin called. The view changed again to show a tactical display of the entire empire. Red dots marked the positions of every major fleet, every important world, every seat of power. We have been preparing for this moment for 30 years, Wu Jin explained. Every one of those red dots represents a target that we can reach instantly. Your fleets, your shipyards, your command centers, your palace itself, all are within our reach. But the logistics alone, Jihai, Wu Jin said. The display showed something that made the Emperor's blood freeze. Ships, hundreds of them, all clearly human in design, all appearing on sensors throughout Empire space simultaneously. The Cheonma was never alone, Your Majesty. We have been positioning our forces for years. Right now, there is a human ship within striking distance of every important target in your empire. Impossible, breathed Mervok. We would have detected. You detected what we wanted you to detect. The Cheonma was meant to be seen, to draw your attention while our real forces moved into position. Emperor Zalkorath realized the true scope of what he was facing. This was not first contact with an unknown species. This was the culmination of a decades-long intelligence operation that had penetrated every level of his empire. How long? He asked quietly. How long have we been watching you? 63 years. How long have we been planning this? 31 years. How long have our ships been in position? 18 months. And we never knew. Your empire became complacent, Your Majesty. You stopped looking for real threats because you believed none existed. That made you vulnerable to an enemy you never imagined. The Emperor looked around his throne room at the faces of his advisors. He saw fear, confusion, and the dawning realization that their world had changed forever. "What are your terms?" he asked. "Simple. Immediate cessation of all military operations. Release of all enslaved populations. Withdrawal of Empire forces to your core worlds, and the establishment of a new government that represents all the species in your territory, not just the Zephyrian elite. And if we agree, then humanity will help your empire transition to a democratic confederation. Your technology will advance by centuries almost overnight. Your people will prosper in ways you cannot imagine. And if we refuse," Wu Jin's smile disappeared entirely, "then your empire ends today. Your fleets will be destroyed, your leaders removed from power, and your former subjects will be free to determine their own futures." The Emperor sat in silence for a long time. Around him, the most powerful beings in the galaxy waited for a decision that would change everything. Finally, he spoke. "How long do we have to decide?" "1 hour, Your Majesty. After that, we begin Phase 5, which is the end of the Zephyrian Empire one way or another." The transmission ended, leaving the rulers of the galaxy alone with the most important decision in their species' history. And somewhere in the darkness of space, humanity waited for their answer. The Imperial Council chamber had never been so quiet. For 57 minutes, the most powerful beings in the galaxy had debated the fate of their empire. Now, with 3 minutes left before the human deadline, Emperor Zalkorath made the hardest decision of his 400-year reign. "Send the message," he said quietly. "We accept their terms." Counselor Mervok activated the communication system with trembling claws. "Captain Wu Jin, this is the Zephyrian Empire. We accept your conditions for peaceful transition." The response came immediately, as if the humans had been waiting by their communication equipment. "Wise choice. Your Majesty," Wu Jin's voice filled the chamber, "you have chosen evolution over extinction. Your species will survive to see a better future." "What happens now?" the Emperor asked. "Now we begin the real work. Zora, please transmit the transition protocols." Every screen in the chamber filled with detailed plans for transforming the Empire into a democratic confederation. The documents were incredibly thorough, covering everything from military reorganization to economic reform, to the establishment of representation for all subject species. "You planned this far in advance," Mervok observed. "We hoped for this outcome," Wu Jin corrected, "but we prepared for both possibilities." Chief Scientist Telmaran studied the documents with growing amazement. "These technological specifications, Captain, some of these advances would take us centuries to develop on our own. And you'll have them within months, assuming your cooperation continues. Dongwu, please explain the technology transfer program." A new voice joined the conversation, that of the human science officer. "Dr. Telmaran, we're prepared to share selective technologies that will improve life throughout your former empire. Clean energy, advanced medicine, faster-than-light communication systems that don't require ships to carry messages." "Why?" the Emperor asked. "Why help us after we've ruled through force for so long?" "Because," Wu Jin said simply, "we believe in second chances. Your species has the potential to become valuable members of the galactic community. You simply need guidance to get there." "Galactic community?" Zixandra spoke for the first time in an hour. "There are others like you? Not like us, Counselor? Each species is unique, but yes, there are others who have learned to transcend the limitations you've accepted as natural law. Humans are simply the newest members of a very old community." The revelation hit the chamber like a physical blow. The Empire had not only been surpassed by humanity, they had been completely unaware of an entire civilization of advanced species. "How many?" the Emperor asked weakly. 17 species in our local group, Your Majesty. The Zephyrian Empire exists in what we call the Development Zone, an area set aside for species that haven't yet learned to coexist peacefully. "You've been treating us like children," Mervok said, understanding dawning in his voice. "Not children. Adolescents. Potentially dangerous adolescents with access to planet-killing weapons. The galactic community has been watching your empire for centuries, debating whether you would mature naturally or require intervention. And you decided on intervention. Actually, we volunteered for it. Humanity was inducted into the galactic community only 73 years ago. We understand the transition you're about to undergo because we experienced it ourselves. Emperor Zalkarath felt the last of his old certainties crumble. Who intervened with humanity? The Kethalani, a species that had been watching Earth for 200 years before making contact. They gave us the same choice we're giving you, evolve or face force change, and you chose evolution. After a brief and very one-sided conflict, yes. It took us 12 years to fully accept that we were not alone and that our aggressive instincts needed to be controlled. We hope your species will be quicker to adapt. Jeho's voice joined the conversation. Your Majesty, we're receiving surrender signals from Empire fleets across the galaxy. Your military commanders are ordering their forces to stand down. Good, Wu Jin said. That will make the transition much smoother. Taemin, what's the status of our phase-in operation? All ships are moving to visible positions, Captain. The Empire's sensors will be able to detect our full force within the next 10 minutes. Excellent. Your Majesty, you're about to see something that no Zephyrian has ever witnessed, the full scope of human military capability. The main display in the throne room shifted to show a strategic view of Empire space. Red dots began appearing everywhere, thousands of them all representing human ships that had been hidden until now. Impossible, breathed Admiral Kethron, who had been listening in silence. There are more ships here than our entire Imperial Navy. Actually, Admiral, this represents about 15% of our total fleet. The rest are stationed throughout the galaxy, maintaining peace and assisting with development projects on other worlds. The numbers were staggering. The Empire had believed itself the supreme military power in the galaxy, but they were outnumbered 10-1 by a species they had never heard of until a week ago. How do you maintain such a massive fleet? Telemiran asked. Efficiency, Doctor. Our ships require minimal crew and can operate independently for decades. When you can manipulate 11 dimensions simultaneously, resource limitations become much less restrictive. Captain, Sora's voice came through the communication system. We're receiving the first wave of integration requests. 47 former Empire worlds are asking for immediate assistance with establishing democratic governments. Already? Wu Jin sounded pleased. Hyunwoo, please coordinate with the provisional assistance teams. Let's make sure those worlds get the help they need. Emperor Zalkarath listened to the easy efficiency with which the humans were dismantling his empire and rebuilding it into something better. It was clear they had done this before, probably many times. Captain Wu Jin, he said finally, what becomes of me? Of my government? That depends on you, Your Majesty. Some former rulers choose to step down completely and live in retirement. Others work with the new governments as advisors, helping to smooth the transition. A few have even earned positions in the galactic community through their efforts to repair the damage their regimes caused. And if I refuse to cooperate, then you'll be removed from power and placed somewhere you can't cause harm. But we hope it won't come to that. The Emperor considered his options. He could cling to power and be forcibly removed, or he could work with these humans to create something better than what he had built through conquest and fear. I will cooperate, he said finally, but I want to understand something. Why do you care what happens to the species we conquered? Why not simply destroy us and rule them yourselves? Because ruling others is not the same as helping them grow. The galactic community learned long ago that forced rule creates resentment and eventual rebellion. It's better to guide species toward self-governance and then welcome them as equals. Even species like mine, species that have committed terrible acts, especially species like yours. Some of our greatest contributors were once conquerors themselves. Redemption is possible, Your Majesty, but only if you choose to pursue it. Counselor Mervok stepped forward. Captain, when will your people arrive to begin the transition? Yunji, what's our ETA? 3 hours, Captain. The first transition teams are already entering Empire space through the dimensional gates. Dimensional gates? Telmiran asked eagerly. A transportation system that allows instantaneous travel between any 2 points in the galaxy. One of the technologies we'll be sharing with you once your transition is complete. The Emperor slowly stood from his throne and walked to the great window that looked out over his capital city. Millions of Zephyrians went about their daily lives unaware that their world had just changed forever. How long? He asked quietly. How long for what, Your Majesty? How long until we're ready to join this galactic community you speak of? That depends entirely on your species, Your Majesty. Some civilizations adapt within a few decades. Others take centuries. Humans required about 50 years to fully integrate. And during that time, you'll be guided, protected, and educated. Your people will see advances in technology, medicine, and quality of life that will seem like magic. In return, you'll learn to channel your aggressive instincts into productive purposes. The Emperor nodded slowly. And after we've proven ourselves? Then you'll join us among the stars, helping to guide the next species that needs to make the choice you've made today. For the first time in hours, Emperor Zalkorath smiled. There's a certain justice in that, isn't there? Former conquerors becoming guides for peace. The galactic community believes in cycles of growth, Your Majesty. What was once broken can be repaired. What was once destructive can become creative. Captain, the Emperor said formally, on behalf of the Zephyrian Empire and all the species under our rule, I welcome humanity as our guides into a better future. And on behalf of humanity and the galactic community, Your Majesty, we welcome you to the beginning of your true civilization. The communication ended, leaving the Imperial Council to contemplate the magnitude of what had just occurred. In a single week, they had gone from ruling the galaxy to becoming students in a classroom they never knew existed. But as reports began flowing in from across their former empire, worlds celebrating their freedom, species preparing for